Good evening. We have a new friend who is joining in today. His name is Sri Charan Lakkaraju. He's the CEO of StuMag, one of the magazines which is pretty famous in the student community. He's also an entrepreneur and he's listed as the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia specific region, that chapter, because he's one of the young entrepreneurs who did pretty good achievement with his brand. He's also mentor for Atal Innovation Mission. He's also a great orator. He's part of a lot of speaking and as a speaker in a lot of colleges and business institutions. So it's great to have you here. So Sricharan, maybe you can tell our new friends and us, and especially me, about yourself, how your journey started, and you're more into how this passion towards educating students or entertaining, because magazine has a lot of combination. You can almost put all the sectors, all the information and different categories into magazine. Because in during my college I was very passionate about magazine, and in my last organization also I prepared a magazine for my customers. So I can really connect to where you are. So yeah, maybe you can tell our friends a quick introduction about you. Sricharan? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm available. I was just checking out. Yeah. First of
Yeah.
all, thanks, Ravi, for inviting me to this very unique concept which you have envisaged on and which you have started. First of all, it's nostalgic. It's been 4.5 5 years of entrepreneurship life. The whole thing started out. It was almost like looking like how can we start a non-IIT, non-IIM enterprise for non-IITs and non-IIMs. That was the whole thought. How can we bring them onto one platform? And StuMagz, the name as it stands, it's very easy to understand. It's like student magazine.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason for putting that name that you get a domain for $99, and you get a 7-letter domain. Nothing much. I think deeper thought into it. But there was only one thought was we had global CEOs from India, but not global products. How
Okay.
can we envisage a global product from India? Because we have a 6-digit Google, which is headed by Sundar Pichai, and 8-digit Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing on 7-letter. So I thought let's have something 7, which is StuMagz. So
Oh,
uh,
that's nice.
that's the funniest part on a lighter note. But the whole idea is like how can we bring students, because we are the youngest country. I think China and India are on par with each other, being the youngest capital of the world. And when we have such young population which is under 25,
Mm.
and there was nothing which was representing them, and there was a need that how can we connect all these colleges, which are 39,000 colleges, and 1 to 2 million people graduate every year. And when
Wow.
we have such population in these colleges, why aren't we bringing, like, people keep saying that social networks connected everyone,
Mm.
and we stayed 15-20 kilometers distance. I don't know Ravi, and Ravi doesn't know me. Social
True.
network didn't connect us. Now it is connecting, because we are using it as a platform now. So, but how about in the same college, how students are not connected to each other? There might be a talented student. Very happy to know Siddharth spoke on the show before where he was talking about different facets. So I didn't want to repeat much, but the whole idea is like how can we bring a college together and then a college to another college. So the
Mm.
most sensible way was to start a magazine. But now we are not just a magazine, we are more like a student discovery platform, and we connect colleges to the brands and brands to the colleges, and
Wow.
let students get discovered by the brand. So now the whole idea is if you are in certain college, you are not decided by the name of the college. If you are talented, you should get an opportunity, and
True.
irrespective of whichever college you study from. And now we are very happy to share. We work with brands like Uber,
Mm.
Rapido, Dr. Reddy's, and different companies have hired students through us for
To you.
internships and full-time placements. So we try to give them a pedestal so that they are discovered by the companies. So that's it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Superb, superb. I mean, that's a great achievement. So you kept on infusing different services into the brand, and now you're a global brand where companies are reaching out to you. to get talent, because no, who doesn't want good talent? And if you're making it easier for the brands to hire through you, I think that's a super achievement. So
So the whole idea is like, let's say now you're running this organization, WurkTV now, and sometimes you require good content writers, you require editors,
right,
you require social media manager. So the whole idea is like every platform in the market today is all about pull platforms. They just list it on their platform, so someone comes to it and applies for it. The
right,
difference is like it's a pull platform, but today we are living in the age of push, not
yeah,
pull. So we need to push that content. So the moment when we partner with work, we call it as we have an association. We don't charge like 8.33% as a HR or something like that. So
Mhm.
we have a model where we say that there are two models. One, you partner with us for a subscription, and we give you unlimited number of hirings through our platform,
Okay.
where we handpick students from different places. And when you hire from someone from a tier one, tier two college, the loyalty levels are very high.
Mm.
They stick to the organization, and they always feel that someone who gave them an opportunity, they're always very loyal to them.
True.
And the kind of talents which they are all kind of a self-learned people who scale with us, who grow their journey, or who travel the journey with us. Yeah.
Right. So good one, good platform. Good to know about it. How you're scaling up these particular operations and services in the last 4 years. But Siddharth, what was your best achievement, in this particular journey in StuMag, which you really enjoyed? And not in terms of revenue, not in terms of revenue and business, but what you really enjoyed in this entire journey.
I always call upon use two terms. It's like number of families who get impacted, because I always use this term when someone gets an opportunity or someone gets a job, or even the people who are working for you in the team. I always see from that point of thing, because I keep telling people, lots of young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs also, who also feel like, okay, you can be the boss when you start your own company. You will never be a boss, because lots of other people become your bosses. Your employees are your boss, your vendors are your boss, your house owner is your boss. Who knows? Like everyone is your boss now. But the most impactful thing is the number of families touched, and the number of families who got impacted. Because if someone gets an opportunity, forget about changing a society. It's all about changing one family at a time. And one
Right.
family, when they get an opportunity, the person becomes a bread earner, and the whole family has a positive impact over it. Uh, that's what the most utmost satisfaction which you get out of this.
Mhm.
And apart from that, a lot of people got their own 1 minute of fame and wall of fame through StuMag. Then you feel prouder whenever you see such people or hear those stories. And but again, bottom line, it's like again, if you want to earn money, never get into entrepreneurship, because it's like you can always earn more when you're doing a job. And when you get into entrepreneurship, it is all about wealth creation. And
Yeah.
today, I keep telling people, like, if you want to earn money, entrepreneurship is not for you. And today, I am the most happy thing is the wealth which we have created all through these years.
Yeah, lot of people get confused between the definition of wealth versus the money they're making. So good point. I mean, this is a really good point. So because it takes a lot of struggle. A lot of people think that they can earn a lot because being lean, just being one employee stuff and all that. No, it takes a lot of journey, and a lot of people drop out. Like I think 90% of the startups drop out in a couple of months because they after that they cannot survive. So
The,
good.
the, it's almost a difference between knowledge and wisdom. If people think both are same,
Hmm.
they think both are same.
True. So we have some quick questions for you, Sri Charan. We this episode is all about Sri Charan rather than StuMag or the passion which you have with respect to the entrepreneur journey which you are doing. You've been a great speaker and all that. So are you all set ready to answer some of
Yep,
the rapid fire questions?
sure.
Yeah. So what is the worst job you could do?
Now or in the past? Worst job?
Yeah,
Software.
software. Okay. You're running a magazine. So, but what is your favorite TV channel which really entertains you? You've done entertainment and you're engaging people. Which TV channel engages you?
Entertainment, I feel any news channel these days.
Any news channel, is it?
Any news channel which is looking for TRPs is a nice entertainment. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you could paint anything, what would you paint today?
A countryside scenery.
A countryside scenery. Okay. So you're always passionate about going back and settling down the countryside?
Yeah, I started off my bit now. These days, I'm a weekend countryside guy. So hopefully, I'll make it a full-time countryside guy and work from there. That's my dream. Yeah.
So if you had to start something in the countryside, what business would you start? Because now you know what works, what don't work. So what business would you start in countryside?
Have everything which is pure, which we don't get pure stuff back in any unadulterated stuff. It comes from milk or vegetables or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, you live to eat, and you just have to survive and just happily write. And I'm just penning down my first book, so I just wanted to be a nice author and stay back there and give webinars like this.
Cool. So while talking about this, I have a small video which I wanted to play. So let me just play this across for the audience. Yeah, this is what Sri Charan is working on. Cool. Yeah. So that's the book. So you didn't mention that in your entire introduction.
Sam, I feel like I thought I'll just talk about it maybe at the end. So that's my first thing, and it's an effort where it was a long-term dream about how to get into that author or write a book. Thanks to support of my team now, helping. The lockdown has been very productive in a way where I thought let's take it up as a project. And the first book, it's titled as Dad, Do's and Don'ts. It's all about my interaction with my dad and different experiences what I had from my childhood. It's almost like a kind of a semi-autobiography kind of a scenario. But I feel the one caption sums it up all. He's my role model. I don't want to be like him. So the whole idea is like every son goes through the whole equation, and my father is a government school teacher and a principal. He retired a couple of years back. And when you're a son of a teacher, you hardly have any option to just argue on because they know it all. And again, and when you are a guinea pig for him, the kind of experiment that he does on you, you always wanted to be the best. And I just penned down those experiences in the book, and I'm really excited. Maybe next month, July last week, we are launching it. We launched a pre-order now. Yeah.
Good one. Good one. I love the creative. I love the font and the cover page of Dad. That's really nice. I love the name Dad, and it's very close to my heart too. So, can you talk about one? I mean, this is again part of rapid fire question. One moment, best moment with your dad, which you can never forget in your life.
Tough to say one, but there are many. But I can just say like the whole transition, every age has its own transition. When you just go back or when you're retrospective about your own life, those transitions, the kind of the same person, two same people, but the whole relationship got through its own sinusoidal way. So the whole transition, any transition point, looks like a tipping point for you.
I agree with you. So, apart from your dad, who's the celebrity who's your favorite, and who's the celebrity you really don't like much?
Oh, that's too diplomatic to be, but celebrity which I personally adore for the person who is Shah Rukh Khan is one. Personally, I like him for whatever, not the movies, for whatever the whole graph which you see, the way he created his own career, the way he lives his own life. That's one. But apart from that, there are lots of other people who I get inspired from. Uh, but when you ask like people whom you don't like, it's not about person, but it's about the attributes. There are lots of things in Shah Rukh Khan also you don't like, but the whole point, what is the majority part of it? Yeah.
Right. So very diplomatic answer. Okay, so what is that most interesting thing which you carry all the time along with you while going to work, which others generally don't?
Can you repeat the question,
Yeah,
please? I
what
just
is
lost
that
it.
one thing which you carry always coming to work, which generally other people don't carry while coming to office? What is that unique thing Sri Charan carries?
Oh man, not the unique thing as such, but a mobile is the only thing which I carry. I don't even have a laptop these days. Yeah.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
like being simple and all that. You can
Yep.
also say tiffin box because even these days tiffin box is the rarest thing which people don't carry.
I have my stylus. This is one thing which most of them don't have. I guess I always keep a stylus. I love to write it on whatever I get on my
Mobile,
mind.
okay.
So
So you're
yeah,
more of a note guy. So your phone has to be a notebook.
absolutely.
Otherwise, it doesn't work for you. Okay. See.
Uh, this is the habit which I had like from my childhood, where I used to jot it down on a book, because I always feel like some of the thoughts you never know when they come. It's all about penning them down. Because he's a role model. I don't want to be like him. That was one line which I got some time back, and you just write it down, and you don't know when to use it. So as an orator or a writer, I feel some thoughts, they don't come calling. They just come, and you need to have something to pen it down. Yeah.
Are you married, Sri Charan?
Yes, I'm married from last 7 years. It's been a 7 years, and have blessed with a 4-year-old kid now. Yeah.
Wow. So your wife is not jealous that you're writing a book on that, and I mean, does she have some expectation that okay, next 3 years, there will be another book published? Wife.
Very interesting question. No one asked about this. Maybe the only thing she wishes that it doesn't have versions.
Okay. Good one. Wife one, wife two. What's your
The
long-term dream?
long-term dream.
Yeah.
Long-term dream. Again, as I said in the before, the countryside dream is still lurking big time now, because I just wanted to go back to the countryside and spend a time with people, and trying to change more lives or impact more lives. Because I feel that's where my roots are, and I feel like that's where you belong to. And sometimes lots of things which you wish you can't do in your own lifetime. I feel like why you should not have any regrets at the end of the day. So that's what I'm looking at, the long term dream, settling down at the countryside and having fun. Yeah.
Good. So tell something about your village, place you were born, and some childhood memories which are like really you will remember for life.
So I was born on the outskirts of Hyderabad itself. It's just hardly 20 kilometers. I can't call it as a village now. These days you have Wonderlaws and TCS and all these guys started setting up their shops in my village. That's called as Kongara Kalan.
Hmm.
Uh, the only beauty it had is like the amount of time I spent with my grandparents. I lost my grandfather a couple of years back, and basically, as a first grandson, you always have that memories, and you're nostalgic, where you learn. He was a revenue head, and he was working with the state government, and the kind of treatment that he used to get, he always was saying me that, okay, Charan, you have to become an IAS officer. That's a dream. Like, if you're good at studies, and that's the one thing all the grandfathers ask. But the reality check, one I keep telling, is like the amount of time you spend in the paddy fields and greenery, and those mango orchards, and the whole idea that a lot of people miss now. And those days, they taught some very real things, like how to treat people. And we used to have almost like 8 to 10 people at home who were working for us, and the kind of treatment that you do, you learn those ethics and morals, and these things are better not taught in any international school these days. Like,
True. I agree.
you're in a very light manner. And the one thing, one thing which I used to like, you are disconnected from the world in those days because there was no network in the village. And when you are disconnected, even not a landline phone, you used to feel like how you kept yourself busy. That's the only thought which these days I keep thinking. Okay, fine. Thanks to lockdown, slowly got back to those days. Even while we are connected, we started doing detox.
Hmm.
Uh, those are the few memories which lurk in my mind, and even others also who are watching this might be feeling like they have their own villages and stuff. And I feel a lot of people envy me that the amount of time I spend with my grandparents, because that's where you learn a lot.
I agree with you. And when we were disconnected in villages, people who really loved used to travel, come, meet, and spend quality time. Now it's all like just over the phone. Okay, yeah, I spoke to him just like a couple of months back, but that visit, personal visit, used to happen. That's very important. And we were doing something which is within the family. So
Absolutely. Even in the social gatherings these days, you hardly have anything to talk because, like, people already might have liked your milestone. People already know what you are achieving. People know everything about you more than you. So sometimes you might have forgotten, but they know about what happened when and where you ate what. So in those days, it was all those cousins getting together and talking about things and talking about your own things, talking about your own schools. Uh, those things stay long, and thankfully, some of the moments were captured because we had a nice camera at home, which was like the bulkiest one. But those memories are still alive in the mind, and that's it. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
this is a good point because we are on social media. Everybody knows what we are up to. So that question of cousins gathering and asking Nuven Chesnara, what are you doing? What are you up to? And all that discussion is not there at all. People are like, okay, all fine, Bhavanara, that's all. So I think this question of what are you up to, that discussion is completely gone because of this.
Absolutely. The conversations have become minimal, the sizes have become minimal, the forms are become minimal, and the attention time is minimal now. So everything is becoming minimalistic now. But the simple things are becoming costlier. It's like I keep
Yeah, that
seeing
is
people.
true.
Uh, the most of the simple things, the cow dung, we are paying for it.
Yeah.
The cow dung cakes, we are paying for it, which
Ask
we
me,
used to get.
ask me. But cow dung, it's like almost 1.5 months. I'm trying to buy a cow dung, 5 kilo cow dung to
So
prepare something.
things. But the whole idea, I keep thinking about these points. Like, we made our lives complex. It's
True.
not about anyone else. I'm not being a kind of a good Samaritan here and talking about nice things. I'm one of the culprits, or everyone is a culprit in that. But if you ask about the idealistic situation, the whole concept, the thought, I keep telling, let's get back to roots. Let's get back to roots because those were the days where you are you, and again you are recognized as you. No, today people call you like, oh, you're the Forbes 30 under 30 or whatever, all the horns and stuff. You don't feel the comfort, and people don't see you as you. Someone who calls you as Ravi, a founder of WurkTV or something like that, then you don't feel comfortable talking to
I
them.
know.
So those days, people didn't attach any labels. You don't know which brand you wear. There was one big cloth which was given to the tailor, and everyone of
That's
the
it.
cousins should wear the same dress. And we used to feel happy for it. And now we have a 4-year-old at home who talks about Tommy Hilfiger or FCUKs or Alan Solis
Yeah.
at an age of 4.
We
Just imagine how different we are.
yeah, we carry the brands, and it's made us very heavy, to be honest. Yeah.
And those were the days when your father was telling, like, at least my father, it was the day when I lost my IIT, and I wrote about this in my book. He said, like, you are a brand, you don't need a brand. And when he used this line, when he called an individual as a brand, that impacts on your mind, that has its own strong impact. How can you be a brand by yourself? Because lots of today, when I was talking, when I got an invite, I said like, let's do a kind of an interview. The first question they asked, what's your passion? I said youth. And when I said youth, the only question I keep telling people, you keep running after brands, but the real brand is you, because you are unique and you miss you. And when you say any individual is unique, what's that X factor or the Y factors or the Z factors which you have in you? And you keep searching for something everywhere, and when you don't know that you are missing one brand who is just before you over the mirror, and that brand was highlighted, and the brand was respected as it was in your childhood, because they don't see which car you come in or what apparel you are wearing, because they respect you. Okay, you have a good voice, you have a good voice, that's it. You are what you are.
Your
So now,
personal qualities were highlighted, not what you carried along with you.
correct. So it's like, people never knew lots of other jargon in those days. Like, the whole advantage is, like, today we are complicating with jargon, and people have an identity crisis. I didn't know what was depression in those days. I didn't know what was identity crisis. I don't know what was introvert or extrovert. So all these jargons weren't existing as such. So when you don't know what is that, it becomes simpler because we don't complicate things. So these were the few things which I keep missing from my childhood, because they don't never
Oops.
judged anyone as such.
We had power cut. Give me a second. So the light will come back. Don't get scared seeing me in this dark light. Yeah. Next question for you, Sri Charan. What is the funniest or the weirdest thing you have done with your cousins in the same village? See.
The funniest, we used to just play those hide and seek kind of a thing, and parents used to get terrified when you go to the farm and again you don't return back, because there were no mobiles as such in those days, because you were all connected by being disconnected. So those were the funny parts, and you still always recall those moments whenever you get back. Yeah.
No masti, no weirdest thing you've done. Most notorious thing.
I
There
was
could be
not notorious.
something on the board. I know you would have mentioned this in your book, so that's the reason you're not revealing it.
Not really. Maybe the whole notorious ones. Yes, we didn't knew that it was something which was bad, and you do it. Right? It was something out of fun. But stealing someone's cousin's possessions and stuff always makes fun, and that makes like create a big hoopla at home. Yeah.
Good. So, Sri Charan, in this particular pandemic, what is that personally you learned, which you never realized earlier?
That you can work from home. So there's no need for a small meeting to travel 45 kilometers again and do a sales pitch for a couple of minutes, which you can do it over a call, and still people are okay with it. And there's no need for you to wait long hours before someone's cabin, where someone pretends to be so busy inside it.
I know. When you're in
Wait.
marketing, this happens. They'll keep you waiting for a long time.
Right. Now, these are the few things which are like one thing about this pandemic and the umpteen live sessions that everyone is attending. Nobody is an expert. For everyone, this is new. If someone sounds as an expert for this corona, we should doubt his age. He would have survived Spanish flu. But the whole idea is like, this taught us that, again, there are some basics which are needed. Again, there is something like the only thing which wants to stay with you without any prejudgment or anything is your family, which you are ignoring all the time. And that's the only set of people whom you have to stay with. And they are the only people who love you. It's not that others don't love you, but it's like, everyone has their own apprehensions. And now again, those set of people whom again, you got to get comfortable with them, and you need to know how to spend time doing nothing, because sometimes doing nothing is an art.
True.
And a lot of people thought that doing nothing is something which is waste of time, but doing nothing is important. And the other thing which I learned is a lot of people used to commit suicides for an exam, and now people are being promoted from their exams, so without writing examination. And again, when you understand, like, that was the same exam that someone was thinking to commit a suicide for it, or for the result of it. So now you know that all these things become temporary, and how you look at things. And at least the one thing which I keep telling people, start talking. I know, because I know lots of families don't talk to each other, and when you start talking, you never know. Lots of things get solved.
So good points. I really like the way you mentioned about not doing anything is also an art, because a lot of transactions, I think, we don't have the phone beside us. We really get worried, as to where the phone is, as if this is the oxygen machine which is just beside.
You know,
So
someone asked me how to make this quarantine productive. Someone asked me a question. I said, like, start practicing doing nothing. Then he said, I'm an expert in it. So, so the whole
very
point
good.
is like, but it's not about just not doing anything, but sometimes the thought, the kind of a workshop you have on your head, it's like, how to stay calmer, because that reduces your anxiety levels like anything. Because
True.
if you know that if you are slowing down, it doesn't mean that you are slowing down. It means that you are recharging yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So now, with all this experience as an entrepreneur, as a writer, as a person who's covered a lot of things, in your magazine, all the industries, and you're also a person who basically looks at the world. You are always watching the news because you are in that industry, and connecting with so many corporates and all that. So, what would you do when you become the chief minister for a tenure? So, what are the areas you would focus on?
What's the tenure? I didn't get like.
The full tenure of 5 years as a chief minister, what would you do? So
See,
you
it's,
have
it's,
one
it's, it's
minute
a
to
kind
answer
of
that.
a situation. It's a very, very interesting one. But I keep telling people, it's not a role, it's a responsibility, and the kind of a responsibility that it gives it. But I keep telling, like a CM, how you can become a common man, how you decrease the distance between a common man and a chief minister is more important. So the distance should be a delta, and the delta should be a negligible one. So how someone is approachable, because the whole point is it's a job. It's a job which is given, and you are paid for it. And
Right.
when you are paid for it by someone, you're answerable. When you're answerable and accountable, the whole idea is you should be approachable, because that's how you are nominated for that position. And when you're nominated for that position, I keep telling, like, you always have a mix of intellectuals who are. I keep telling people, economists cannot be businessmen. So economists are good at telling theories. So some smart people doesn't mean that everyone can solve a problem. They can just give theories. So how we create a combination of an economist and a businessman or a leader? The combination is like, let's say there is an agriculture minister. He should be assisted by an agriculture list. Is someone who is learned in agriculture, who is a PhD in agriculture, who someone wants to like an agriculture, a finance minister should be assisted with an economist. So how you create those tag teams is very crucial, because when you create tag teams and knowledge groups, the whole idea of implementation, because it's not populistic, it is more pragmatic. And again, some things cannot be done in 5 years only. There are some things which, with a long term, how you create the whole long term, short term, and mid term analysis, which is very crucial for people. And again, the whole idea of democracy, where you create, like, and how you create a localized federal structure, because someone knows the DBTs are very important. I feel like the direct bank transfers. I personally admire the whole DBT concept, because it's like, now everyone are at home. Like, let's say the movement is like, how we make people work is very, very crucial. We don't need people who are idle. We need people who do work and who generate, who pay tax more. And the other whole concept, it's my personal opinion, where I feel agriculturists should get salaries. It's one thing which I personally
Yeah,
advocate.
that's a very
Uh,
good point. Yeah.
how we create salaries for people in villages. It's not something which is giveaway, but when we take a land parcel, like, let's say Ravi is a businessman, he can take 10 acres and he can pay salaries. so that the storage system is improved, someone is paid, there is a predictability of a supply chain. And this thing, if we start paying salaries, he becomes taxable. And when he becomes taxable, he pays taxes. And when he pays taxes, he starts respecting the money which he's getting as a subsidy. The moment when he pays taxes and gets a subsidy, today subsidies are not at all utilized, because lots of educated people who buy a farmland get a subsidy. And again, these subsidies are the most misused ones, which I know, when you're in democracy, people keep telling, okay, fine, you should ignore the percentage of misuse, but ignoring the percentage is becoming majority. So how can we solve that? So one big thing is about agrarian economy, how we create a salary structure where we take a land parcel of 50 acres or 60 acres. We encourage a lot of people to take these land parcels and pay them, and have, so that the financial independence or the financial discipline is taught. Because the moment you create that financial discipline in people, lots of things get straight. And rather than becoming a security guard in a company, what is he good at? He's good at doing agriculture, but he is unpredictable. So start paying him salary, start teaching him things. That's the first agrarian thing. The second thing, which I keep telling people, is like, lots of engineers are by chance, not by choice. And how we give the jobs which they want to do, because the whole idea of being independent, I keep telling, I don't support caste system, but again, I feel like the caste system with work is always beautiful. There should be a balance. There's lots of imbalance in the society which we have today. So how do we understand that and try to maintain that? Because these are all the economic givers, because these are all the handicrafts, and a lot of these things we can export and we can make revenue for the state. And the last third thing which I keep telling is about tourism, because we need lots of tourism. There's like, how can we create tourism and more jobs? Because the moment you see tourism, you have forex, and you have forex, your value starts going up, and it's all about increasing your value. So if these three are done, because the reason why I wanted to talk about unique things is like, I don't want to talk about setting up a hospital, setting up of these
those things are already covered. So
like lots of guys, it's always good to hear about lots of things. But some things which are like, I know, and again, there are lots of companies, startups who are doing some great jobs. How can we make them part of this whole thing and making them accountable for a few things? And once you make education, healthcare, few things free, where do people spend? They spend again outside. They start buying things. They start doing lots of things where they pay taxes, because everything you buy, there is a tax which is paid. So yeah.
Good conversation and good insights. I really like your thought process on things which generally are not touch base, but you have a detailed explanation on why. A lot of people say that, but you have, it's like we should think of farmers as one way of doing it, but you have a solution how you can enable farmers to be productive and also earn. So good thoughts. So
even it's good for political leaders,
yes.
It's like it's good for political leaders and different people, because and there's no need of giving lots of cash to them whenever they need, because they're independent. They don't ask for it again. Yeah.
So good, nice connecting with you, Sri Charan. I think you have that right combination of stuff with you. I like the way you're doing the magazine, encouraging the youth, because that's very much required, and that's the next generation coming up, bringing up. So you're creating content which will empower them to be better human beings, better workers, better leaders in future, and more importantly, your book. That's really good. So you didn't expect I would play that video, right? So
So that was a surprise, and I felt like maybe I was thought of telling at the end, because it should not be looking like a promo for that. So I thought, like, let's say, anyways, once I launch, I'll go back to Ravi and say,
that book will not look like a promo because of the subject which you've chosen. Any other subject, maybe I wouldn't have played, but yeah, the subject which you've chosen, yes, tempted me to play that. And more importantly, what you're doing as a speaker. See, a lot of people have achieved different heights, received the awards. going and talking and spreading this education, what you're doing now or what you've done in this particular show, going to colleges and being a speaker, is also a voluntary service or a community service. A lot of people don't realize that when you talk to the people, and most of the times when you're speaking, it's not a commercial activity, right? 99.9% it is voluntary activity. They don't pay for even the expenses for the trip, the travel charges. So when you do that, it is a community service which you're doing, and I really admire the speakers who actually take time out because they want to deliver this message and change the people who are the audience, especially the youth.
I'm
So
happy to volunteer for WurkTV also for whatever initiative that you want to do it for youth and others also in the coming days. The reason why I keep telling that people is that we lack role models in our society. When we look around, we don't find people. So the whole idea is like one few things I did my own campaign called Save Youth online. So one is save youth, save teachers, because a lot of people talk about save tigers and something, but very few good teachers are left. Very few people are
your
becoming teachers
yeah,
by
your
choice.
voice is cracking a bit. I'm not sure why, but this part it is
Am I audible? Yeah.
yeah, you're audible, but somehow some background or some cracking is coming. But
So I
yeah.
think, yeah. So the reason why I said save youth and save teachers and these things, because very few people are becoming teachers by choice,
Hmm.
and very majority of them are becoming by chance. And where do the students look up to the inspiration? They need to look up to someone to at least they learn some qualities from some, how to be, how not to be.
Hmm.
Again, so that's where I felt address more than a couple of lakhs of students till now, and I keep telling people like I'm here only for that one uh, pair of eyes which is looking at me who's seeking some answers.
Good. Yeah. Thanks, Sri Charan, for taking time out. Do well in whatever you're doing. God bless, because we need youth like you. We need entrepreneurs who are coming out and doing things like this, and follow what you've learned. And all the best with your book, which is releasing shortly. So, friends, do follow Sri Charan, and the entire show of work and this particular efforts. Doing these shows in a rainy when the power is going off. All this is because we want to make inspiring friends around us, and this entire show is all about that. So, connect to Sri Charan and keep following him, inspire him in whatever he is doing, and encourage him with his new book. Thank you,
Thank
Sri
you,
Charan.
Ravi. Stay connected. Let's get in touch.
Sure, I would. Thank you. Thanks, dear. Bye.
Bye bye.